I've had many questions over how I ship some items out, so let's get shipping. This item is in an 11 by 14 poly bag, which is actually too small. It's okay for storing, but not for shipping out. So I'm gonna use a 18 by 24 poly bag. It's gonna be a little bit larger, but it's gonna look better for the buyer and it's gonna be more professional in my opinion. I just don't like stuffing larger clothing items in a small poly bag just because they get really wrinkled. So it's just my preference. It's up to you what you wanna do. All the items I'm using are linked in my Amazon storefront. I'll leave it in the comments for you guys. So if you wanna order the poly bags or know exactly which ones I'm using, they're in my Amazon storefront. I like squeezing the air out of it, and then I'm going to grab a 24 by 24 white poly bag. These are the only poly bags that I actually ordered to ship out items for because they're so big. I cut them in half, and so I turn one poly bag into two. So it's the only ones I ever need to order, and they work out great every single time. The scissors I'm using are Fiskars scissors. They are the best scissors ever. We've had them for about 4 years, and believe me, they've been used a lot. This is the only pair of scissors I like to use whenever we're shipping out items. Now that I've got the bag cut in half, I'm going to stick the item in it and tape it up. This is an Abercrombie & Fitch cardigan. It sold in 24 hours on Mercari for $39.95. We made a profit of $32.95. If you've watched any of my other shipping videos, you'll notice that I use eBay tape for all my packages. It doesn't matter what platform the item sells on. We get this with our quarterly coupon from eBay, so why not use it? The buyer doesn't care, and neither do I. After we get it all taped up, I keep track of what's actually in the bag by writing on it with a permanent marker on the outside. So whenever I go to ship it, I make sure that I get the correct label with the correct item. I'm going to use the other half of that poly bag to ship out the next item. This is a Blue Angels polo. The Blue Angels were formed in 1946. They're actually a United States Navy flight squad, and it's pretty cool. This actually sold in about a week and a half, so a lot quicker than I expected it to sell. I picked this up for $1 from a yard sale, and it sold in about a week for $24.95. I made a profit of $17.34. Again, I'm going to cut this 24 by 24 poly bag in half, so I'm going to take one poly bag and turn it into two. This Halloween sweatshirt sold on Depop for $30. I made a profit of $21.07. I picked this up from Goodwill for $5, and I love picking up Halloween sweaters. Vintage embroidered sweaters, whether it's Halloween or Christmas or any other holiday, is really in right now, so keep that in mind when you're outsourcing. Always check sold comps on any item whenever you're outsourcing, especially if it's a new brand to you. This next item I picked up at a yard sale for $1. I picked them up just because of the style. You can tell how colorful they are, and they were only $1. The brand is Athletic Works, and they sold in about 2 weeks for $25 on eBay. I made a profit of $16.81 on these, which is awesome, you guys. Great thing about yard sales is items are usually super cheap, and so if you pay $1 for something and you can over 10x your money, why not pick it up? Here's a bolo for you guys. This is Abercrombie & Fitch vintage shorts. So these were made in the early 2000s, which is why they sold for so much. I picked these up for $5 from Goodwill, and they sold for $84.96 on eBay. I made a profit of $62.04. I paid $6 for this Winnie the Pooh tie blanket from the Goodwill. I took a chance on it, but the fabric looked a little bit older, so I paid $6 and it sold in about 2.5 weeks for $30. I made a profit of $19. When I have a larger item like this, I don't cut it in half. I just go ahead and use the full poly bag. It's just easier with larger items. The Pooh blanket actually sold on Poshmark, so if it was smaller, I would have stuck it in one of these priority mail padded envelopes, but it was larger, so I had to stick it in my own poly bag. Poshmark ships through USPS priority, so you can use these free supplies that USPS provides for you. You just go to USPS.com or Google USPS free supplies, and it'll pop right up for you guys. We usually order the padded envelopes, and we also get the shoe boxes. We also utilize the 12 by 12 by 6 and the 12 by 12 by 10 boxes. So next up, I'm going to get some shipping supplies out. We get our brown paper from Dollar Tree. These cost $1.25 per roll, and we usually have to go every other week to get brown paper. We just buy a whole lot of them, so it just lasts us a little bit. So we also like to use the 12 by 10 by 6 boxes, and this is actually their priority mail shoe box. I sold a couple of shoes on Poshmark, so I'm going to show you exactly how I ship them. These New Balances I picked up from a yard sale, and they sold for $80 on Poshmark. I made a $59 profit. For larger shoes, I like using the actual shoe box. They just fit in there nicer. Again, these sold on Poshmark, so I'm going to use the free shipping supplies any chance I get. It's pretty simple from here on out. We just tape up the box, flip it over, put some brown paper at the bottom, throw in the shoes. Don't actually throw them, you guys. Place them in there nicely. You want it to look as professional as possible. Throw a little bit of brown paper on top, tape up the box, and they're good to go. Next up, we sold some Converses. They're actually one of my favorite shoes to pick up. Depends on the size and colorway, but they sell pretty good for me. These sold for $28 on Poshmark, and I made a profit of $16.40. I like using the 12 by 10 by 6 priority mail boxes for Converses. They fit in there nicely, and again, they sold on Poshmark, so why not use the free shipping materials whenever you have the chance to. I just tape it up, throw some brown paper at the bottom, put in the Converses, put a little bit more brown paper on top, tape it up, and that's pretty much it. Don't forget to write what's in the box, so when you go to put the shipping label on, you put the correct shipping label on the correct item, you guys. That's very important. Alrighty guys, next up, we sold a pair of shoes on Depop. So we can't use the USPS priority mailboxes because you can't ship using those if you're not actually shipping with a USPS priority label. So these are going to be shipped using USPS ground, so you have to use your own box. Get free boxes from Dollar Tree, so you just speak to an employee and let them know that, hey, you need some boxes that they're just going to throw out, and usually they're pretty nice and they'll go ahead and let you take some. These Skechers sold on Depop for $25. I made about a $20 profit. Depop no longer has any seller fees, so you reap more of the profits, but Depop is a slower platform. It's probably my slowest platform between the 5 that I sell on. I probably sell around 1 to 2 items a week, which is pretty darn slow. All I'm doing is throwing some brown paper at the bottom of the box. I'm going to place in the shoes just where it looks nice and professional, put a little bit more brown paper on top, tape it up, and write what's in the box. This is another one of our free boxes. The thing about getting free boxes is you kind of have to keep them organized in sizes because you have to go looking for the right size for the right item you're shipping out. The next one is a Teletubby keychain. We picked these up in a lot at a yard sale, and these are all profit. We've already made well over our profits with this one. It was made in 1992 or 1993, I believe. It sold for $5 on eBay, and we made $1.50 in profit. The next item we sold is a bigger item, and it's glass, so I'm going to use a bigger size box. This was also one of the free ones we picked up. The Santa kit sold for $15.95 on eBay, and we made an $8 profit. I'm going to actually use some bubble wrap because it's glass. Whenever we ship out glass items, I like to double box and use bubble wrap. We purchased it from Walmart for around $15 to $20 per roll. We have gotten lucky and found some at yard sales, but that's not always the case. There's no perfect way to do this. You just want to make sure you put enough bubble wrap to cover up the whole item. We like using the smaller bubbles, but I've seen others use the large bubbles. It's really just what you prefer. Whenever I mention double boxing, this is what I mean. This is just a piece of scrap cardboard that I got from another package. I'm just going to go ahead and open it up, score it, and I'm going to wrap it around the actual item itself. Whenever you score a box, you can actually use a tool that's actually made to do that, or you can just use a pair of scissors like I do. The scissors work just fine, so I don't see any reason why I should purchase another tool that I'm not going to use, you guys. Whenever you score the box, you're actually making it just easier to fold around the item that you're putting it around. Once I'm done doing that, I'm just going to put it in the box that we've already pre-made, and look, fits perfectly. So you'll get better and better the more shipping you do, and you'll get more comfortable shipping breakables and larger items. All that's left to do is to add a little bit more brown paper on top, tape it up, write on the box what it is, and get ready to ship it out. One thing to remember whenever you're using boxes or free boxes that you're getting from different stores, you guys, is make sure you take off the stickers or any kind of hazard or identifying stickers that says chemicals or anything like that. You want to cover it up. And this little sticker right here, you'll notice I tear it off. You don't want to leave that on there. Now all I have left to do is weigh and measure the items and print out the shipping labels.